Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show today. Today, we're talking about the top 5 mistakes that entrepreneurs make when building corporate credit. So for those of you that don't know me, my name is Ty Crandall. I'm actually the CEO here at CreditSuite. And at CreditSuite, this is what we do. We help business owners get capital. We help you get money. And we do it by helping improve your fundability, which we'll be talking about today, the things that make you more fundable. We also do it by helping you build business credit for your EIN that's not linked to your social and accessing all loans and credit lines in one place. So if we can help you along the way, feel free to visit. Give us a call at 877-600-2487. We also have a really cool business credit building guide. I think it's been downloaded like over 1 million times now. It's really a lot of downloads. So go to creditsuite.com/EIN to grab that guide. So look, if business credit building was 100% intuitive, then everybody would be doing it, right? But again, getting good corporate credit can lead directly to getting financing, but a lot of people don't know how to do it. And a lot of people are applying and failing because they're getting automatically declined when they're trying to get financing for their business. And that is the problem that we are going to solve today. Okay, so let's talk about why it's so easy to get lenders to decline your applications. Well, the reason is there's a formula that you've got to meet to get approved. If you meet it, well, then in a lot of cases, you're going to get automated approvals. But if you don't meet this criteria, well, then you're going to get a decline instead. So you've got to know this formula. You got to know what lenders and credit issuers are looking at to have the best chance of getting approved. Okay, if you don't, well, then that's going to be what gets you denied. So by following the advice we're going to talk about today during the show, you're going to work to get automated approvals. That's my goal for you. Because when you apply for a credit card, that's what happens, right? You either get an automated approval or you get that dreaded message that you'll hear by mail in 7 to 10 days, which usually is a decline. So how do we get the approvals? Well, it's by knowing what lenders or credit issuers are looking for and meeting that criteria before you even apply. Let's talk about the mistakes people are making. First of all, one of the most common mistakes that people make is that the lender can't find your actual business when you apply. This is the biggest mistake that we see. We see people come in all the time and they say, hey, look, like what's going on? I just got denied for this loan, got denied for this credit card. And what we find is very simply the name and spelling that they have on the application doesn't match exactly in other places like Secretary of State. I'm telling you, it's the most commonly overlooked mistake we see business owners make. You've got to make sure that the name on your business is the same on the application as the Secretary of State, which means if you log into your Secretary of State and see your business name, including a DBA, that's exactly the name you need to use on your application. Also needs to be the same name you're using on licenses, utility statements, bank statements, everywhere else offline. You also need to make sure it's exactly the same everywhere online. Yelp, Facebook, your website. Believe it or not, places like Dun & Bradstreet get information from all those sources. So if Yelp and Bing and Google My Business all has different names, spellings, well, then that's going to be what gets you denied. You got to make sure that the spelling of your name is congruent everywhere online and everywhere offline as well. So while checking your name, make sure your business is active as well. Make sure it's active and in good standing, okay? In almost all states, you're going to have to file annual reports once a year. And if you file those reports once a year, then you're going to have to file those reports once a year to make sure your business is active. If you're not filing annual reports and paying a fee once a year, then what often happens is your business isn't active. So you've got to check that to make sure your business is active. Okay, the next thing you want to know is that you want to try to avoid business names that indicate you're in a high-risk industry. Weapons, ammunition, weapons manufacturing, bail bondsman, check cashing, energy, oil trading, finance, pawn shops, political campaigns. Okay, these are all considered high risk. Everything even considered to be in financial services is high risk as well. Okay, so you want to try to avoid names that indicate you're in a high risk industry. If your name indicates you're in a high risk industry, that in a lot of cases can throw up red flags when you go to apply for credit or financing, or it will just automatically get you declined. So you have to make decisions. When we started our business, we knew this was going to be difficult, and we still put the word credit in our name because we wanted our name to indicate what we do. You have to make those decisions as well. It's harder for us to get merchant accounts and bank accounts. It's harder for us to get loans and credit lines. But since that's what we specialize in is getting financing, we know we have advantages there that can get us the capital we need. You might not have those same advantages. So you've got to be conscientious of this decision, whether or not you're going to choose being in a high-risk industry to put that in your name or not. And no, you're going to be scrutinized heavier if you do have that in your name, if your name indicates that you're in a high-risk industry. So to get financing or credit for your business, you've got to have a business entity. Okay, corporation or LLC gives you more credibility when you're choosing entities. So first of all, you can have an entity and not have an EIN, but you can't have an EIN without an entity. And an entity is one of the first things that lenders and credit issuers look at to make sure that you're credible. If you're going to choose an entity, consider a corporation, consider an LLC. They give you more credibility. They reduce your liability. They reduce your chances of getting audited with the IRS as well. So a lot of benefits there. And they help you separate liability completely when it comes to corporate credit building. Meaning, if you're using a corporation or LLC, you can come in and build corporate credit and not be personally liable for it because you've chosen an entity where you and the entity are not the same. You and the business are not one and the same. So make sure you set up your entity with your state and make sure you have the right address there that you have everywhere. Also, get your tax EIN number. So think of it like this. Your social security number in the United States is the number that's used by the IRS to recognize you as an individual and a legal citizen of this country. IRS does exactly the same thing with businesses using an EIN. The EIN is what tells the IRS and the government that you have a real, legal, legitimate business. You also need it for things like opening a bank account, building business credit as well. So set up your EIN and then take the time to verify that it's listed the same way everywhere it's listed. I have done this mistakenly myself where I put the EIN in one place. It was the wrong EIN. It was the EIN for another business I owned. And then what happened was I kept referring back to that same document with the wrong EIN again and again when I needed the EIN for that business. So it does happen. You write your EIN number down once the wrong way, then you go back to that multiple times. This can really create these kind of issues. Make sure you have the proper licensing set up for your corporation as well, okay? If you're a plumber that needs to have licensing, well, then make sure you get that licensing set up. The city, the state, the county, your industry, you need to make sure you have proper licenses for all of those that are required. In a lot of cases, lenders and credit issuers, our systems are going to automatically look for that, or they're going to manually ask for that when you go to apply for things like credit cards or loans. Your business address really should be a real brick and mortar building. Mistake number 3 that we see a lot of people make. You need a real deliverable physical address. Okay, that becomes very important. Okay, it really should not be a home address. It really should not be a P.O. box either. Okay, don't use UPS mail addresses either. So let's talk about this. UPS addresses and P.O. boxes are all housed in a database that lenders and credit issuers have. So they know you're using a mailbox when you do that. They do not like that. And it ultimately results in a lot of automatic declines. So you need to know that. When you're using a home address, you're okay. You're better to use a home address than a UPS or a P.O. box address, ironically, when it comes to getting credit and financing. But nowadays, Google Maps or Dun & Bradstreet's putting Google Street Views from Google Maps on the credit report. So if you've got an old house with a beat up car in the front of your lawn, that's the picture that shows up on your commercial credit report. If you don't want lenders and credit issuers to see that, you really need to consider not using a home address. But again, you're better off to use an actual home address than you actually are to use anything else. You're actually better off to use a home address than you are to use a P.O. box or a UPS address. Okay, but some sources like Walmart won't approve you for credit cards if you're using that home address. Okay, so try to not use the home address, but you can use a real physical address or a virtual address, a home address at last resort, but through Regis, Da Vinci, those kind of places, but avoid using a real or a P.O. box or a UPS address. Those can really get you in trouble. So let's talk about phone numbers. Lenders want to see a toll-free phone number. It makes you look credible, okay? Even if you're using a home-based business, then forward your cell phone, forward your home phone to the actual business or to the actual business, take the business phone number, the toll-free one that you get, and then forward that address to your cell phone if that makes it easy, but never use your cell phone on an application. You need to give them the perception that you're a big, legitimate company, and toll-free numbers do that for you. So it's very easy and very cheap to set up toll-free numbers, so make sure you get one for your business and get a fax number as well. Most services out there will offer you a phone number that can be your fax number as well. That's what I have. So I have for a business number, a phone number that is also my fax number. And it gives me the ability to tell people I have a fax when I'm filling out applications where they're asking for a fax. Never use cell phone. Never use a home address on an application for credit or financing, or it's not going to make you look established. You're going to look unestablished. So don't give those out as your business phone number. You also need to take the business phone number you get and list it with 411. Believe it or not, a lot of credit issuers and lenders use this basic check to determine if you're legitimate or not. If you're not listed with 411, you don't get approved. If you are, you do. Again, I can't tell you how many people we've helped correct the name on the application that matches the Secretary of State and they get approved, or how many people we get listed with 411 and they get approved when they typically would get denied. So you need to get a phone number. It needs to be listed with 411. It should be toll free. You should have a fax number as well. And you also need to make sure that that's listed everywhere online the same. Now, if you're like we are, we moved after many years into a bigger office. And in doing so, we changed our address. So we used a service called listyourself.net for 411. That's a good service you can use. And there's also services like Yext, Y-E-X-T, that will then update all your information across almost all legitimate sources online in one change to their service. So use List Yourself to list your phone number with 411. Use services like Yext if you change addresses to make sure that all the addresses, all the phone numbers, the spelling of the name is congruent everywhere online. So mistake number 5, skimming on website and email. Look, they're going to look at your actual website, or the computers will ultimately look at your website to determine what you do. It's best that they learn everything they need to learn about your business from that website. Not having a website or not having enough information about your business on the website severely hurts your chances of getting approved. So you can use places like templatemonster.com to buy a cheap template for your website. You can go to places like upwork.com to pay somebody to put it up, or you can use places like we use. We use a service called Custom Marketer. That's the company's name. And Custom Marketer makes it really affordable to put clients' websites up for our clients. Regardless of what you do, get a website up. Some people say, I'm not in an industry where I need a website. Yeah, you are. Everywhere now you need a website. It makes you look credible. So if you're not even using it to sell anything, get it for for at least the reason of credibility. You also need a business email address. You can set up in places like GoDaddy. It needs to be professional, not a Hotmail, not an AOL, not a Gmail. Those don't look legitimate, okay? Think about that. I don't know about you. I have absolutely chosen to not do business with businesses before because the people are emailing me from Gmail addresses. It's not legit. If you work with a legitimate company, you have a legitimate URL in your address. My email is info@creditsuite.com. Okay, that email is congruent with my website, right? If you go to creditsuite.com, that's our website, and the email is info@creditsuite.com. That's what you want to do. You need to avoid AOL, Gmail, Hotmail type email addresses. Okay, we often see a lot of denials due to the applicant not being set up at the business credit reporting agencies. You need to get a DUNS number with Dun & Bradstreet. Okay, you also need to get a BIN number with Experian, a business identification number. You could do both of those by going to creditsuite.com/reports. As a matter of fact, creditsuite.com/reports gives you a free way to check Experian, Equifax, and Dun & Bradstreet to see if they know about you now, and see if they have anything reporting for you. Look, business credit's very different than consumer credit in a really big way you need to know. You can and will be issued a failing business credit score even if you have no credit. The minute Experian and Equifax know your business exists, they create a credit report. And if you have no credit, they automatically give you failing credit scores. So you need to know if a report exists for you now, and you can do so at creditsuite.com/reports. And if you want to monitor your business credit, we make it really affordable to do so at creditsuite.com/monitoring. So that's a place that you're able to go right there as well. So something that you definitely want to check out, okay? So something that becomes very important for you to check out and look into. Because again, the key here is that you need to make sure that you're actually set up where you're actually able to access. And you could do so by getting your information for free at creditsuite.com/reports and using creditsuite.com/monitoring for the monitoring of your business credit as well to see if it's actually accurate. You're often declined if you aren't listed with the reporting agency, so you've got to start building you got to start establishing some actual corporate credit. It becomes very important that you do so as well. So you really need to make sure that you're doing that. You can also get a denial if you have a low score. So this is why you need to access that information and start building some business credit, because that alone can get you denied. Okay, also mistake number 7, business account mismanagement. You've got to have a business account, a business bank account set up. Okay. It becomes essential for your credibility. Okay. And essential for you to be able to start to get bank loans. Okay. Your business banking history is also vital. It's very, very, very important. It's important because, again, you have things called a bank credit score, a bank rating that's used to determine if you should get loans or credit cards from the banking system. So if you ever want to walk into a bank and get approved, you need to make sure that you're managing your bank account responsibly and that you have a business bank account set up. The date you open your bank account is also very important as well, because that says when you actually establish the business in some cases. So if you buy a shelf corporation or you change ownership interest or change ownership in your business, then ultimately they'll start looking as a default to when you open the bank account as when the business opened. So you need to make sure that you set up that bank account right away to give yourself more longevity and credibility when it comes time to applying for credit cards and for financing. Also, as your business grows, try and you start to get to a point where you're going to apply for bank loans, well, then make sure that you maintain an average balance of $10,000 in your bank account. If you don't do this, you will not have what's called a low 5 bank rating, which means you're just not going to get money from the banking system. It's that simple. Now, don't get me wrong. You could still go get a credit card. You could still go get a loan from alternative lenders that lend not based on your bank account or not big banks. But it's real tough to get financing through big banks if you're not maintaining that kind of balance, because they're looking at your bank rating that won't give you a high enough rating if your balances aren't high enough. So in the startup phases, you don't need to keep 10 grand in your bank account. You're not applying for an SBA loan. But as you start to business starts to grow and you start to get to a point where you're applying for those kind of loans, you really need to make sure that you're maintaining that kind of balance in your bank account. So let's talk about a few more thoughts. Personal credit quality, obviously important. If you have any credit issues, work with a professional credit improvement company that can help you there. I found that the majority of derogatory items on credit reports aren't being reported legitimately. And if they're challenged the right way, then in a lot of cases it gets deleted because they're not supposed to be there. So work with a professional that can help you. We do not deal with consumer credit, but there's plenty of companies out there that can help you in that space. So if your personal credit's not in order, make sure that you get that improved. It's only going to help you. Sometimes as you start to get loans, they're going to want to see collateral. So account receivables, inventory, equipment, purchase orders, those kind of things really increase the value of your business because, again, it gives you collateral you can use to offset lenders' risk as well. So some final thoughts. So to recap, set up your business fundable, where it's fundable. It's that simple. Okay, a lot of people that get denied for loans and credit cards, they think they're getting denied because they don't have enough income or credit or other things, and that's not it. Most applications, over 50% of applications are denied because of fundability. They're not even looking at your revenue. They're not even looking at your credit. They're denying you for many of these things we talked about that are basic requirements to set up your business where you look fundable. If you don't meet these, you're oftentimes going to get denied. And also build your business credit. Building business credit goes a long way to making sure you get financing, you get it at the best terms, and you get the most amount of money you can get. So again, I appreciate you tuning in. Our phone number is 877-600-2487 if we can help you get approved for financing along the way. If you're interested in building business credit, grab our free guide at creditsuite.com/EIN. And also check out our website, creditsuite.com. The top right of our page, you'll find our Facebook link where we go live weekly. You'll find our YouTube link where we go live weekly and have hundreds of videos that will teach you everything you need to know about getting money and growing a business. And also you'll see links on our Twitter and our Instagram where we've got videos and posts daily, all that are designed to help you get the most money for your business. So make sure you check out those resources on our website at creditsuite.com. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Hope you have a great day.